My name is David Freeman of Timeless Instruments from Tegasky, Saskatchewan. I've got my highlight on this table is ancient cowrie wood from New Zealand. So I have back and side sets in flame and white bait figure. This is the ancient cowrie when it's finished. The little uke over here is also ancient cowrie in a white bait. This one actually has New Zealand jade on the timeless tea that if you have really good light, which this room doesn't, you can see right through it because it goes right through. And I carved all that as well.
Okay, my name is Stephen Boon. I'm from Bozeman, Montana, and I make classical guitars, and I brought 3 of my latest here.
What are they made out of?
This is, European spruce with Malaysian blackwood on the back. And the next one is also, the next one is Lutz, if I'm pronouncing it right, Lutz spruce with East Indian rosewood on the back.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And the last is Western red cedar. It's Western red cedar on the top with more Indian rosewood on the back and sides. Yeah, I make these little miniature planes to help with my brace shaping, and they're handy all over the place on the guitar, and I have a flat and a curved bottom model. And I'm all sold out, so everybody likes them.
Okay, my name's Don Bradley, and I'm from Forestville, California, west of Santa Rosa, and I brought my electronic signal generators for doing Chladni plate tuning.
And what's the Llamas of Wine Country?
That's the group that I used to belong to that has a lot of llamas, and it's in the wine country. Because I live in the wine country, and I usually have a couple llamas.
Oh, llamas, okay.
Yeah, that's why I got the nickname Llama Don.
Graham Macdonald from Canberra in Australia, and I've got a couple of ukuleles and a mandolin.
Which one's which?
The ones with 8 strings are the mandolin, the ones with less are ukuleles.
Very good. How about these books?
Well, when I'm not building mandolins and ukuleles, I amuse myself by writing books. 2 finished and 1 just about finished.
Very good. Show us the back of these ukes.
Tulip satinwood, which is a rainforest timber from northern New South Wales, which is very rare and a great tone wood, but no one knows about it. And just very traditional old style soprano ukulele out of Tasmanian blackwood.
They are lovely.
And Huon pine, which is you think of an odd thing to make a mandolin out of, but it's a lovely, gorgeous, now very rare Australian timber. Bit heavy for soundboards, but makes a lovely back and just gorgeous to carve.
What's
Kimberley pine soundboard?
What's the neck?
Australian red cedar, which is like Honduras cedar, Spanish cedar. And this bit's cut from an old bit of 100-year-old skirting board that I had tucked away in the back of the shed.
My name's Dave Arden, and we're from Belfair, Washington. This is my daughter, Olivia.
Hi.
And what we brought today is we decided to work on a ukulele as a project together. So we brought what we have in progress, a top and a back, and the ones for the next ukulele, and a neck before it's been carved out, it's just roughed. But we're here for advice and conversation and anything else.
Inspiration? You finding any inspiration here today?
Definitely. Loads of inspiration. A lot of nice people here, and everybody's offering good advice and just warm atmosphere. So ready to go home and get to work, but don't want this to end.
Hi, yes, I'm Paul Bristow. Friends call me Pablo, and I'm from Gresham, Portland, Oregon. And I brought a boo box, which is a new folk instrument. I want to create a new folk instrument. That was complex. Feeding back already. The tricky part about making a new folk instrument is I had rules. It had to be able to be made with a knife, a saw, and a drilling device, and all basic things. And one of the hardest things is to create allow the instrument to create itself and not force things. Like the saddle and bridge were very difficult because I didn't want to force and make something I already knew. And so to be true to itself and allow it to create itself, I ended up using bamboo that just touches on each side and is bridged by the bone. That was the first difficulty. The second one was, how do you terminate the strings? Could use a tie block with a piece of fret wire, but that's something that's already been done. And so I terminated the strings going straight through using simple things. These are just bass string ferrules, and I've used guitar string ferrules. I've tried it 90 degrees and 45 degrees. They both work fine, no string breakage, and that keeps string from ripping through here, plus allows a longer string length. And the third difficulty was tuners. I wanted them to pull straight, so that determined where they were here. And I originally made them out of fishtail oak, but these were difficult to tune, so I plugged the holes and used regular tuners. So after the boo box, I wanted to make a series of folk type instruments for the Oregon Country Fair, and that's how this series of instruments and amplifiers came about. And this is a piece of Doug fir that was a bridge beam, and all of these are neck through, because even though they're cigar boxes, I wanted to allow them to do what the top could do. So the neck is cut down so the top actually can vibrate and resonate. And all of them are repairable, rebuildable. This, I wanted to put a piezo in here, quick for the country fair, and pulling it all apart and opening it and drilling a hole and putting it back together and tuning it only took 20 minutes.
Very good.
So they're designed with that in mind.
My name's Jay Lichty. I'm from Tryon, North Carolina. I'm here with my wife, Corey Woods. We've brought with us today a guitar and 3 ukuleles.
Can someone play one of these ukuleles for us?
I am Mike Doolin from Portland, Oregon, and today I have my 4-string, headless, fretless acoustic bass guitar with David King tuners, my hybrid thin body electric arch top with laminated top and back, bird's eye maple, back and sides. And I call it a hybrid because it has, oddly, a flat top style bridge glued onto an arch top with RMC acoustic pickups in the saddles and a contact K&K on the inside, plus the magnetics. And all the magnetics is off of volume tone pickup switches, and then I have individual volume controls for the acoustic pickups to blend in. So this thing will do everything. This is similar design, same idea of a laminated arch top and back, but this is a 7-string. I've gone over to playing 7-string exclusively, so I built this one for myself, low A tuning. And this one is pretty simple, 2 humbuckings, volume tone, pickup switches. And finally, my beloved 13-string harp guitar. This is Peruvian walnut, back and sides, and a redwood top. This redwood was deck wood at a Par lumber store in Healdsburg, California, down the street from LMI. Subs are tuned to the key of E flat, so it's right down to E flat scale, so E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C, D. And then sharpening levers to raise any string a half step, so I can get from any key from E flat to E.
Okay, my name's Pat Foster. I come from Spokane over on the eastern side of Washington. And I brought these two guitars that are a couple that I built for myself. I normally sell them, but I had a couple of lulls in my sales. And yeah, this one is Paducah. And I pulled these bits of wood out of my wood pile because this set was won in a drawing from Bob Cephalou at R.C. Tonewoods, and I won it in a drawing about 5 years ago. This set was given to me by Rick Davis when he had a sort of an invitational of regional luthiers at his shop. We went on to Michael Gurrian's barge. And this one is, this one's got a Cocobolo back and side, and this was this is considered a thrift set.
That's a thrift set. Huh?
Yeah, right. And I was quite taken with it, so I grabbed it. The top is Lutz spruce, and this is one I built for myself. I wanted to do the bevel cutaway, and this is my first effort at my own headstock design, and so I just sort of pulled out all the stops on this one, and it's my keeper.
I'm Mark Inglis. This is Dan Rice. We're from RFL in Lake Oswego, Oregon. We're wholesalers and distributors of musical grade lumber products. What we brought today was a combination of acoustic products, mostly sides, backs, and fronts for acoustical guitars, quarter sawn neck blanks, okume neck blanks for electrics, solid and multiple piece bodies for electric guitars.
Do you have some Port Orford cedar here?
We do, right on the end.
How did I know that?
All you got to do is take a whiff. This is myrtle wood. If you want to live on the edge from the coast of Oregon. We recently shipped a pretty good size order overseas. For whatever reason, the Japanese seem to like that. And we brought some exotics in the guitar body blanks behind me, as well as one-piece alder blanks. Even though we're in alder country, it's hard to get a one-piece alder blank. So those are kind of hard to come by.
Yes, my name is Pan Sang Chantrangkun. I'm from Bangkok, Thailand. Yes. Today I bring classical guitar for show. Yes, 7 fan brace television style. Yes, and decorate rosette figure a little bit.
What kind of wood is it made of?
Yes, for top is the European spruce. Yes, back and side Malaysian blackwood, one kind of ebony. Yeah. And neck is from cedar.
My name is Chris Klumper. I am from Paulsville, Washington. And what we do here is make tools for the guitar building industry. And you can see a variety of vacuum fixtures to pickup winders, CNC templates. We even make CNC machines. That's not here. Then neck angle jig, neck carving jig. We also sell binding cutters. Okay. And then our most popular item is slot head fixtures, which we can't keep in-house. And that's basically what we do for the guitar building industry. It's fun though.
Okay, I'm Monte Ross. We're from Ukulation, which is in Woodinville, Washington. And we make an electric ukulele that you can plug it into an amplifier if you want, but this ukulele has a built-in power amp, speaker, and effects module with a reverb, flanging, chorusing, and echo, and all of the stuff that an electric guitar would have, and a built-in battery pack, in the back, so you can take it to the beach.
Why doesn't it feed back?
That's a secret, trade secret. You can turn it on and put some echo on. This one is mango wood, laminated on top of alder. Has this is an ebony fretboard and a koa peg head. And this one here is a butterflied koa face, cocobolo fretboard, lacewood head, and cherry neck. This one here is Brazilian walnut with a laminated mahogany in the center. And this is mahogany peg head and the cocobolo fretboard. And this is a bocote bridge. We make the bridges and the fretboards, we do the whole thing, and the electronics. And this one is cherry with a maple fretboard and a lacewood peg head. And this is a laminated ebony and maple bridge that we make. So this is the insides. You can see there's a lot of electronics going on to make the effects module usable. It has the power amp to drive the speaker, and it has the selection of the special effect. You just, with one knob, crank it to the effect that you want, and then by adjusting in between the intensity of the LED, you can say little effect, medium, or a lot of effect, and you can just get there quickly and be playing. So you don't have to like fiddle with foot pedals and wires and all of that. It's all self-contained. Yeah, and it has the jack so you can plug it into an amp. Power jack so you can play it without batteries if you want. And we also have the centerpieces that you can change to suit your mood. And all kinds of different, there's a surfer dude and a pineapple and all kinds of different things. So it's basically there to cover up the speaker, but you can use it, you can take it off and you can see the speaker. But it's all self-contained. You can play it at the beach or up in the mountains and have all the effects, and you don't have to like plug in anywhere.
Okay, my name's Gene Ziert. I'm from Sebastopol, California, just above San Francisco. The guitars I brought today are a triple-aught 12-fret slot head, replica of a 1920s Martin. This is an OM that I built, probably 5 or 6 years ago.
How about the third one here?
The third one is an MJ, so it's a little bit bigger guitar. It's a 14-fretter, and it is Pau Ferro, which is another one of the South American hardwoods, not a rosewood. But
let's look at the back of this first one.
Okay. This is koa that I actually picked up on the Big Island about 5 years ago. We were visiting some friends, and picked up the slabs and then resawed them about a year ago after they had dried for a couple of years.
The name's Victor Johanson. My company's CFYE Productions. I'm out of Phoenix, Arizona. I brought a classical and a prototype guitar to show people today. Classical is basically the Hunzer style plan, so it's pretty straightforward.
Let's see the back of it.
Yeah, sure. I'm using the yellow toner like Goya, if you're familiar with Goya guitars, and I've always loved that color, so when I made this one, I used the yellow toner to. Enough of that?
Yeah, let's have a look at this one.
All right, this is a prototype. When I was in high school, after I graduated, I wanted a 12-string, so I went and studied with a guy by the name of Jerry Titus. And he had done some work on at his college doing sound studies on tops and bracing things, and he came up with this unique bracing system, which is basically a Y shape instead of the typical X brace. This was in 1965, so this was long before a lot of that stuff was being experimented with. It works kind of like a speaker cone.
Okay, my name is Kerry Char. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I brought a couple of guitars, a couple of ukes. This is I call it my Robert Johnson model. It's based off of kind of an L1's Koa, Adirondack spruce. A couple of little ukes here. This one's Koa, but this one's curly mahogany.
Let's see the backs of them.
Okay. I love curly mahogany. They make great ukes. You know, they real loud and punchy. You know. And this one's Koa. Those little sound ports. This one's a little bit of a prototype. It's got a 19-inch scale length, which is pretty for a tenor. It's kind of a super tenor almost, you know. And then this one is one that I built off of the blueprint for the stall from the GAL. It was January Williams made that, and okay, it's Koa back and sides, you know, and Lutz spruce top.
Hi, my name is Emile Gervais. I'm from Montreal, and I bought two guitars of mine, acoustic guitars and classical guitars. This one is a guitar I made at school when I was at school.
At which school?
At Bruin in Montreal. And that was my final project. Some nice tuners, and all the woods is rosewood and Engelmann. That's
How about this steel string here?
Steel string is a model based on small jumbo, and it's Engelmann spruce top. Also Indian rosewood. It's black polish, black lacquer I put on, and that's pretty much it. That's mine.
My name is Michael Colbert. I'm from Port Townsend, Washington, about 60 miles north of here. I've been building for about, 3.5 years, something like that. This guitar is what I consider a 00 with a Sitka top, Peruvian walnut back and sides, ebony binding, sapele neck, ebony, fretboard and head plate, ebony also, actually a rosewood bridge and pins, that instrument. And this is what I call my OM, which is a fan fret 26-inch, 25-inch scale. Here it is Sitka top, ebony fretboard, ebony bridge, ebony head plate, and bubinga back and sides, and ebony bound. So this is a fun little instrument to play.
Hey, I'm David Dolak. I'm a 22-year member. You're a member of the Guild. I live in the Chicago area. I teach at Columbia College, Chicago. So I do my own lutherie of building instruments, but also I'm highlighting a couple things. I teach college and science class. So I teach a course called The Physics of Musical Instruments, where students have to build a real functional instrument. So the last 3 weeks of the semester, I turned the lab into a wood shop, and they will come up with creations as you're looking at now. And the one I highlighted to bring is the F cello by Marissa Dietz from Portland, Oregon. So she was very generous in lending me her cello, and she is a real cellist, and I am not. However, it does sound very good. Out of birch plywood, so it does make us wonder why we're spending money for all of this wood. But it's a science class, so they're getting their science credit. They have to write an original composition based on math. And so I'm sort of highlighting that because school sending me on the trip. And I also, since the last conference, I'm teaching a guitar building course in the steel mills of Indiana to steel workers. It was originally done by Milan Opasic, a nationally known tamburica maker who passed away a year ago. He was a friend of mine. He gave me some wood here, so I built this guitar along with the students last year. But
built by steel makers, huh?
Built by steel makers, right, in a wood shop and the steel mill. So they're building, more real instruments with real woods rather than the things out of everything from cigar boxes to cans to birch plywood creations. So as you can see, there's double neck. This would be a dobro guitar with a can. There's harps, xylophones, both wood and metal, harps, instruments. I have a nice 4-minute video I showed to Arden Matolo. I'm going to send him the link of how they build. So
it's excellent.
Pretty proud of the students, but and then I build. That's an all mahogany guitar.
Yeah, let's see the back of your guitar here.
Oh, this one's very nice, actually. Yeah, it's a very nice mahogany.
Dark old stuff, yeah.
Yeah, with French polish finish. It's old mahogany and a rope inlay.
Let's look at that uke.
The uke is koa. It's all koa. It's pretty decent koa. And then Indian rosewood on this guy here with maple binding. The binding, I think, is very nice. A lot of people have commented on the binding.
Okay, well, I'm Pat McGowan. I'm from Corvallis, Oregon. I'm primarily a furniture maker. I've made just one modest ukulele. So
bring it out and let's have a look at the back.
Okay. This is slightly embarrassing. This is made from scraps from other projects that I've done. But I handle wood all day, and I notice, holy crap, that's resonant piece of wood. Particularly when you drop it on the floor and it goes bong. So this was a gate of Western red cedar, dead quarter sawn, and it sounded good. I kept the scraps. I don't remember what this was, but some Oregon walnut, some big leaf maple. I have an old Don Musser guitar that has a neck that looks like this. It's not maple, but I thought I just like looking at it so much.
It's like an old banjo neck or something.
Yeah, and so and then a little koa as a nod to the islands, and then it's like. So I studied at the College of the Redwoods, where we're sort of obsessive about doing grain matching and stuff. So I happened to have some cocobolo veneer that had a little thing about the same color as the koa, so I just kind of feathered that together there. And so yeah, that's the basic story there. It's actually a little bit of scrap Brazilian for the rosette and the headstock from a friend who is a hand plane maker. And he uses it down to the last scrap, but at some point it's too small for any hand plane. And so it got that. I mean, it's kind of out of proportion for an ukulele, but it was the first time. So what can you say?
I'm from Bangkok, Thailand. Yeah. Nalongsak Viset Nat. Right? Yeah.
What'd you bring with her?
I bring two classical guitar with me. Yeah. This Brazilian. Rosewood, yes. German spruce and cedar neck, yes.
How about that
one? This one, the difference is back and side is Indian rosewood. Back and side is Indian rosewood.
Very nice, thank you.
I have another to show this convention. We have guitar case. This is new, just open to public for this few American luthier. Okay. This is only we call prototype, but this very lightweight. Okay. Very lightweight compared to lightweight in industry. Yeah. Lightweight and very good quality.
So what is it made of?
It's made of plastic and urethane, ABS urethane, many layer. Yes, okay, yeah. This very good quality and strong, very strong. We can step on. Yeah, we can step on.
Indeed. You can step on it.
Also, I have a video clip about 5% two step. We can adjust dimension. We can adjust dimension up to instrument. Yeah. This is a bell. We just release to set up. If we customer can adjust by themselves, put their guitar inside. Now guitar movement, they just pull the strap and tape. Now not move. Very good for side impact.
Yes.
Very good. And this also work with this mechanical, this V-shape, V-shape like this lock.
Right, at the nut,
so, guitar in the center. When side impact, not move, hit.
Right, so you want to hit the side of the case, yeah.
Sometimes I saw in internet, sometimes broken here, many because of side impact. So our case is very good for customer can adjust and adjust. After that, no need adjust again because it reaches the shape is fixed, so very easy to and not move.
My name is Mark Dawson. I'm from La Cañada, California, just outside of Los Angeles, and my guitar is a Sycamore triple O copy, 12 fret model with Sycamore back and sides, and a mahogany neck, Sycamore bound on the top headstock and the back, and Goto 510s, and a semi-gloss finish.
How do you like that Sycamore as a back and side wood?
I'm a fledgling builder, and from what I can tell, I like it quite a bit. It was very easy to bend.
It bent well and worked well?
It did for me. Yeah. And I find it striking and affordable, so it's a good wood for a beginner.
It's got a great look.
Thanks, yeah.
Okay, my name is Bob Carnahan. I'm from Edmonds, Washington. I brought 2 classical guitars with me. This is my 3rd classical guitar. It has a redwood top with Indian rosewood back and sides, mahogany neck.
How about this one?
And this is another classical. This has a spruce top. This top I got from the folks up on Prince of Wales Island. This is my first homemade rosette, so I'm kind of happy with that. And again, Indian redwood backs and sides and a mahogany neck.
See the back of this
one. And it's all the finish is French polish.
Well, my name is Steve Grimes. We running. I'm a geezer, card-carrying geezer, from the Northwest, I might add, but been in Hawaii for 30 years now, and started as an archtop maker. I still make archtops, but when I moved to Hawaii, I started making flat top instruments, and most notably double-hole flat top instruments at the request of some folks on Maui who play slack key guitar. And then that facet of the business took off, and it took over everything. And the archtops got less and less, and the flat tops got more and more.
And now you're even making ukes.
And now I resisted for many, many years, and then I fell in love. Let me introduce you to my new girlfriend. This is a redwood top, zircote sides and back with koa binding, and I started playing it. That helped. Started really incorporating playing into my bands and my writing. I don't play anything traditional. I do all my guitar stuff on ukulele. So that's and then you can see a little bit of archtop guitar
look at that oval hole.
influence in this with quilted maple, with a sunburst and maple bindings.
The top's maple?
Top's maple,
Right.
Quilted maple.
How do you like maple as a top wood?
It's different. It's bright, and it's very untraditional. And then Gurian was throwing out some Gibson mandolin rosettes that, for some reason, he said they didn't work, or Gibson didn't want them anymore. And I said, "Hey, wait a minute! Don't throw those out." So So I started making some oval hole ukuleles.
There's an oval hole flat top over here.
And this is one that is a model that I designed with Larry Coryell, so it's the LC model. And it's kind of voiced for jazz, although this one isn't because it's got a Koa soundboard, which doesn't work that well for jazz. This is only the third Koa topped instrument I've ever made. Until, I think, last year, I tried to talk people out of it.
And you call yourself a Hawaiian?
No.
No. Okay.
I don't.
Okay, there you go.
But
You're a rebel.
I always thought it was just too thin and too bright. But then I just started working with it, and I was able to get a nice sound out of it. So it's amazing how many people are fans of Koa-topped instruments.
How about this crazy thing with it?
Well, this is an asymmetrical arched 14.5-inch arch top that's an electric guitar. It's got a little bit of acoustic sound, but it was custom made for a customer who asked me if I could incorporate his initials into the sound holes. And his name was Edward McNally, I believe. And so I just sketched out a couple of quick things, and he said, I like that E and I like that M, and so I just sort of... What is wrong with me, Tim? Doing custom-shaped sound holes.
Stephen Kinnard. I'm from Nacogdoches, Texas. We brought a little parlor guitar, an OM, and this, which is a retop Ovation. This was this man's idea. You might want to get his picture, so you don't blame me. With who? Ovation or you or what? Okay. This is some sycamore. I believe that was from California, and sinker redwood top, and lots of mother of pearl. This is actually patterned after the Martin #1. Okay, over here we have our deep body OM cutaway, and this is I'll show you the back. This is some more West Coast wood, some Claro walnut here.
Every single piece is figured, huh? all the trim, all the...
Yeah, curly maple binding, yeah. Curly maple in the middle of the neck. Black walnut neck right there from my dad's tree across the street.
Okay, show us the Ovation. Show us the Ovation. We got it.
Put out the bear claw top. Yeah, I like that. Now the Ovation. This was a 21st century version of the paper mache guitar that Torres did to prove that the sound is in the top. That's right. And so we thought, well, this our friend Bob said, well, what would be the best equation to that? And he said, well, let's get an old junked up Ovation, rip the top off. It was a classical Ovation, so we took the top off and put on this top. Then we were thinking that, Ovation has that wide black and white rosette. We thought, well, and somehow that brought up the idea of M.C. Escher's sketch of Metamorphose 2. And so I said to Larry Robinson, I said, can you take that long linear etch and bend it into a rosette? And he said, sure, sure. And so he sent this sketch, and I said, oh, let's do it. And then he sent the work back, and I said, this is too good for what we're doing, but we already we couldn't stop then. Anyway, that was how this all came about. Yeah. Oh, Larry did that little thing there to sort of match the rosette.
Okay, I am suitably impressed. Thank you.
Well, bless your heart. That's very nice of you.
Let's just wing it without the instruction. Just go.
All right. Well, I'm Jeff Elliott. I'm here from Portland, Oregon, with my partner Cindy Burton, and I brought an 8-string guitar. It's a classical guitar, Brazilian rosewood back and sides, pre-CITES, and European spruce top. And the rosette is the spalted sapwood of Brazilian rosewood is the center of the rosette. Mahogany. Honduras mahogany neck. Veneers are Brazilian rosewood. David Rogers custom tuners with the buttons are mammoth ivory. Yeah. Brazilian rosewood bridge. turned out very nice guitar. Yeah. I'm very happy to work. Just wonderful materials. It's a pleasure to work with them.
Couldn't have done better myself.
My name is Faisal. I'm from Orange County, California, and I'm supplying all kind of exotic turnwoods. This is a generation business. My father started, my grandfather, my father's to me, and it's a tradition, ongoing business. Mostly we cut East Indian rosewood. I have stock, cocobolo. This is coming from all parts of the world, mostly from Mexico. We have Macassar ebony. You can see like the dark, highly colored Macassar. We have Amazon rosewood is here. That's from the forest of Amazon. And we have East Indian rosewood here. That is coming from India, actually. It's grown in this all are Dalbergia species, all are rosewood family. So we also carry Ziricote. Ziricote is a kind of wood. It's coming from Mexico and all parts of the world. This is a kind of wood called tamarind. This is coming from Africa. This is a laurel. This is coming from India. We have myrtle wood, walnut. We have bubinka. We have more than 30 different types of stone woods. Other than that, we also manufacturing a lot of finished products. Something like guitar packs out of buffalo horn, Australian buffalo horn, coconut shells, the conductors for the musicians, for the finished British blanks. We make all kind of guitar parts, violin accessories like chinrus, tailpiece, pegs, all kind of parts. So also we make veneer for the all kind of board, yard, all kind of things, and also for the guitars, or for the pianos, everything, the keys, everything. So bottom line, we supply mostly all woods from all parts of the world.
Okay.
My name is Daniel Margulies. This is Pam Prentice, and we're filling in for J.B. Allred, who couldn't make it today. And Allred and Associates makes a number of tools for assembling musical stringed instruments. And then the other company that J.B. Allred has is Dragon Plate, which makes a carbon fiber material for guitars and mandolins.
Is that the D-shaped rod there?
So what the old method is using the carbon fiber rods in a truss.
Yeah.
Which has kind of been the standard for a while. But the new thing now is to use a D-tube.
Right.
Because once you use a D-tube and you glue it in with this much surface area, the neck is extremely stiff. And by stiffening the neck up and reducing the weight of it, you're going to get the resonance, the sound transferred back to the body instead of losing it through the neck.
The tube is hollow, right?
It's hollow, right.
And you cut for it with a round bottom bit?
Right, yeah. This is 3/4 inch, so just a ball, 3/4 bit here. And then there's a smaller 1/2 inch one for things like mandolins or ukuleles. You want to use that. But that's it. And then there's a few specialized things like a neck brace for a bass fiddle, which basically this would fit in a similar fashion.
Yeah.
And then of course on the foot, you just drill a hole to sink this in.
I gotcha, yeah.
And actually this started out as a repair item, but now some makers are just putting it in from the beginning, and then it doesn't break, where you have to go in and then repair it later on.
Let's have a look at that clamp.
So the clamp is also carbon fiber, and it has a little auxiliary clamp that will snap on.
Yeah.
And it comes in 3 sizes. There's also a 4th one that's adjustable. I don't have a model here with me now. So anyway, it's all carbon fiber material. And the other last big thing that we have is we sell a duplicator.
Right.
So this is a carving machine that will, right, that will basically, if you're carving something like a violin, and so you can mount it, carve the back, flip it over, carve the inside. And it's extremely rigid, extremely solid, so very, very tight tolerances on it.
Larry Davis, Gaylord Hardwoods from Eugene, Oregon. come out of retirement for the convention here.
Right.
But in the shop, we're still doing a lot of the acrylic infused woods and dyed, like electric base, fingerboard. No finish on them, just sand and polish.
Yeah.
Makes spalted.
Right.
Makes burl very usable.
Yeah.
Even for fretless. Do it in all species. That's koa.
Yeah.
And spalted.
Right. Stabilize that, right?
Oh yeah. We do some big stuff. We got some big equipment. But again, no finish, just sand and buff.
Right.
It's very usable.
Looks like you got some more traditional sets here as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, actually we just cut all this for the convention here. But that's about it.
Bill Hipton Hardwood Incorporated, St. Louis, Missouri. And we brought a variety of back and side sets. We have Pala, we have African blackwood, we have some figured chichin.
Wow.
We have domestic woods, hard maple, walnut, cherry. We have zircody. We have cocobolo. We have some figured granadillo, some fiddleback, mahogany.
Beautiful.
And mahogany backs and sides, some fiddleback. We have cedar, neck blanks, some of it also figured. We have some solid body blanks, primavera, swamp ash, and mahogany. We have some fingerboards, zircody, cocobolo, granadillo, and we have some fiddleback, ukulele backs and sides.
Harry Fleishman from Sebastopol, California, hour north of San Francisco. And this is a guitar that I built, I think I finished it about 6 months ago. It still has a ways to go. I wasn't happy with it. I didn't know what to think about it, and then I heard another guy play it, and he loved it, and I loved the way he sounded playing it. And the interesting thing was, a guitar of mine that I played that I know real well and I love, he didn't sound as good on. That was an interesting thing to have happen. This one, it was designed using Photoshop and Word, and it's koa and Sitka, and I was trying something that was sort of, a little bit influenced by my respect for Frank Gehry, the architect, and the JBL Paragon speaker system, and I really like it. It moves the sound from here to a kind of a more spatial area.
It kind of looks like you got a filtered side port there in case there's big chunks of sound.
Animals, small. If a person has hamsters, that keeps them out.
What's that white thing I'm seeing inside there?
It's a microphone. I don't have the case for that microphone, so I put it in here.
Okay, what's the next one here?
But I also put the binder on the outside, which I thought was fun. And let's jump over to this one first. This is one I built a few years ago, and it is Brazilian rosewood from a living room table that I bought from the guy who made it. The guy made this table in 1954, 2 inches thick, 6 feet long, almost 2 feet wide. You bet. And
I'll buy that table.
Yeah. These are for comfort. Or for cedar neck. Really feels great. That's a wood up here. Carbon fiber and Sonoclin. Yeah. And let's see what else. This would have been book matched, which I don't always do or normally do. But Tom Rebecki took the 2 pieces that were the book match between these. So this was a book match to one of his sides, and this was the book match to the other, which I love. Inlay was based on a design of René Lalique from about 1919. That's that. And then, this is my first uke. 4-string.
Ukes have always been too small.
They're always too small. This one, I strung it 2 days ago. And this one has a similar port which when I did it, I decided it wasn't enough, so I drilled this one. And I just felt it needed more, so I drilled this one, then this one, then this one. And pretty soon, it's going to all be holes, holy days. And it's a pretty big instrument, but these make it feel much smaller. So it has the feel of an instrument this big, instead of that big. What else? No. This is a silent instrument. Unfortunately, I have a band-aid on and no strap.
What's the deal with the some sort of a thumb rest?
Thumb rest, yeah. Otherwise, you rest in here, which I do still. So if you rest in here, then when you get to here.
Where do you go? You've already gone? Where did you go?
Let's see, what else is there?
I see nylon screws in that break.
Oh yeah, Doolin. They're adjustable from the inside, so I can adjust the height from there. They're angled back at a 7-degree angle, so that the intonation stays the same as they go up or down, even though it's fretless.
Yeah. For those who truly care.
What else?
Access port?
Of course. Don't weld the hood shut. And that's about it. Back and sides are veneer that I was experimenting. Not happy with that idea because it's much harder to make it come out right. But they're sure pretty. And I don't know. Unless you have questions, I can't think of anything else.
I'm Erick Coleman. I'm the technical advisor at Macdonald, and I'm going to show you guys some stuff.
Go.
True Channel.
Oh yeah.
Our binding router system, very stable, very cool. Going in the GAL auction.
Nice. Okay.
Our buffing arbor, which a lot of people have been using kind of the standard unit for a lot of years, and we really wanted to beef that up, and so we worked with a manufacturer to come up with this version, and we feel it's the best thing yet. It's wider range than most of the smaller arbors out there and stuff, so yeah, we're really happy with that, and you can also stuff another couple wheels on the end of that for a really good buff surface.
Okay. Looks like you got a uke kit here.
Yeah, we got a uke kit. Our traditional triple O kits and acoustic kits.
Yep.
The uke craze is out of control.
It's past craze, right?
Yeah, I keep waiting for it to die, and then I get on Google Analytics, and it's just like through the roof. You know, it's still going upward. So I don't know when it's going to end, but it's great for business. And
will there still be guitars when the uke craze tops out?
It's going to be something else. It's going to be door harps or something. I don't know.
Trombones. Trombones are going to come back.
Trombones. So. Yeah, so that stuff's standard stuff in our line. We also have a concert size uke, I think. We have different size ukes. Another one there.
This is your stuff over here too, right?
Oh yeah, that's the whole
Let's
thing.
move around.
Really cool rafts. We've been selling those for a couple of years. Here's something new. Little cool braces for little cutting off brace ends and stuff like that. It's curved so you don't accidentally run into your top or nothing. And I like to use that for cleaning fret stops. It works really well for that. The Crew scrapers are awesome. It was a project we've been working on for years, and it finally came out with this was the first one. Typical bean shape. Then he came out with the smaller one, which the smaller one's my favorite one. I just like the feel of that in my hand. But the right angle is a brand new one, and that one is a really cool one too, because it allows you to scrape, comes in real handy on solid bodies and stuff like that. Allows you to scrape that kind of stuff out. Then of course we have all these little deals, little square shapers, small scrapers of all kinds. This one's cool because it's got these little notches in the ends right there, and that helps you shape your saddles. Your Martin and your Gibson saddles, your 332nd and your 1/8. So that's a handy little booger. The new neck jig, the aluminum extrusion version. We've been using the wooden version for, close to 20, 30 some odd years. And
whole thing's aluminum.
Whole thing's aluminum now. And I can honestly say I feel that I'm doing the best fretwork I've ever done in this thing. It's so rigid, and it's really versatile too. It works for a variety of instruments. I've had everything from, freaking 35, 36-inch scale basses down to F-style mandolins sticking there. So
These little telly-shaped parts boxes are so cute, I can hardly stand it.
those are surprisingly, actually not surprisingly, we have a supplier in northern Ohio that makes all the guitar bodies that we sell. And he just came up with the idea for these little trays, and they're popular right out of the gate. Yeah, they're very popular right out of the gate.
And if you got to lift a miniature RV up for Gypsy's tires, there's what you need right there.
Yep, definitely. The brakes repair jack, that thing's been awesome. Scissor jack. That was inspired. I can't remember that guy. Freddie Cisneros, who's a repairman down in Arizona. Just kind of was talking to Dan about something similar, and that's what our R&D team went to work on that, and that's what we came up with. That's been very popular. Those will expand your fret tang. So if you've got a fret and it's fitting a little loose in the slot, or it doesn't want to hang tight, you just kind of put a little crimp on it, and that sucker's going to fit in there. And it also works for compression, like compression fretting, old Martins and stuff where you want to...
you want to put some backbone.
Yeah, you can't buy that wire anymore that used to have the different size tangs. You can expand the tang and make it happen. This is...
you're talking about one of the E's.
I'm talking about one of the E's.
Famous guy. One of the 3 E's right here.
Yeah, this is an inspection mirror for acoustics. So it's got 2 magnets. You kind of position this inside the guitar, hook this up, magnet on the top. This idea, this came from my shopmate out in Jacksonville in the IWF Lodge is a guy named Gene Embody. And Gene, started his career at Stuart Macdonald, went to Woodsong's Luthery for a long time, and then ended up coming back to StuMac before starting his own business. And so he's constantly in the trenches working on stuff, and he came up with this for a specific job he was working on, and it's great. It's positioned anywhere. You can take photos for your clients with it, position it any way you need to, and it's great. Yeah, it's just great. And you can bounce lights off it to see corners and stuff. And Dan used it. It was recently where he had a guitar that was buzzing real bad on the inside. It had been buzzing for years, but the client finally brought it in, and no loose braces, nothing going on, and couldn't find anything. And it turned out the very first piece of kerf lining next to the neck block, there's a piece of a zipper. This part of the zipper stuck in it, and so every time you hit a certain resonant note, it would shake. And he used that mirror to figure that out and find that guy. We've come up with a new fret crowning file. I've been a fan of the 3-corner file for years. I love the control I get with the 3-corner file, and it's just been the way that I do it. But it is a little more time consuming than using a traditional crowning file. So what the personal drawbacks that I have with crowning files is sometimes the shape doesn't fit all the frets, and sometimes you might wipe off the surface that you just leveled. So what we came up with were a set of files that instead of having a concave surface, it's got a V groove. So can't cut the mill. So you just kind of rock it back and forth while you're using it, and it fits a lot of different fret sizes since it's just not specific to the deal. And so, yeah, and we've got 3 different versions of it. They'll be coming out in probably 2 months, and I think these are innovative. First innovation in fret crowning files since the diamond coating.
I'm Bruce Creps. I've got a shop called Nova Woods on Lopez Island, and I brought, we can walk through it. Right here we got some Koa tops for electrics. Yeah. For ukulele we got some Milo and pheasant wood from Hawaii. And then we got these 3 boxes and one of the 3 boxes of ukulele sets, all Koa. And 4 different sizes. Some myrtle wood and yellow cedar flamenco and some curly walnut. My main wood is Koa, so these are the guitar back and side sets. And then the most popular stuff here is the super curly head plates in Koa, and then some binding and the bargains at the end, all the flawed stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Chris Herod. I'm from Luthiers Mercantile. We are from Windsor, California, back at the GL convention again, happily.
All right.
And we brought lots of wood and tools for guitar builders, which is what we sell. We've got bear claw, Sitka spruce, Indian rosewood, sort of a specialty for us. Tons of that. Ebony fingerboards, Ziricote, Wenge Myrtle, Makakuba, walnut, Bubinga, maple, and that's just what's left after yesterday when we sold almost everything. So we were doing great. It's been really an awesome convention for us, but still plenty of goodies left for sale. We also have our new glue over here and tuning machines and bindings that are expensive to ship. People are walking out with that and being happy about that. And awesome show. Having so much fun, meeting customers face to face, people we don't get to see in person, we get to see them here. It's always a great experience.
And I like your hat.
Thank you.
Ralph Novak, Novak's Guitars, Eugene, Oregon. All right. And what'd you bring? We brought our 25th anniversary stuff. We've been doing fan fret stuff for 25 years, and I brought an Expression with a Koa top. And I brought a Slimline Jazz, which is an acoustic electric. It actually has an acoustic top. It's designed to be electric, so it's braced heavily, so it won't feed back, but it has a true acoustic tone. It's not neck through or anything like that.
Bartolini pickup?
Bartolini pickup, and this is our most popular scale combination, 25 to 27 inches. Players don't realize they're playing a 27-inch scale instrument. You close your eyes and play that, it feels normal. Sounds amazing. With 27 inches of bass string, you got power.
That's right. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
Oh, my name is Mike Fleck, Chugiak, Alaska, and I brought a guitar that I made in fossilized walrus ivory guitar fittings that I make on a lathe.
Okay. Show us this instrument.
It's a guitar that I made this year, and it's equivalently arched on the outside and top on the back, and the top also. There's a sound chamber, and it's a black walnut tag, lapel, back. The top is maple.
Tell us about these bridge pins.
The bridge pins are made out of, well, I have bone bridge pins, I have fossilized walrus ivory bridge pins, and then I have a couple sets of ebony bridge pins. The fossilized walrus ivory is excavated out of the ground on St. Lawrence Island in the summertime, and I purchase it as teeth, and then I turn it on my lathe.
Teeth, not tusks?
No, they're mostly teeth.
Interesting. Didn't know that worked.
Yeah.
Brian Yarush from Broomfield, Colorado, Castor Instruments. I brought two guitars. I brought my left-handed steel string. It has a bear claw Sitka top. It has flamey koa back and sides, as well as a figured mahogany neck. And I brought this guitar so I could play something, because every time I come here, there's never a left-handed guitar. I also brought my classical, which I strung right-handed, so other people could play. It is Malaysian Blackwood back and sides from Jeffrey. It has a cedar top, which was a sinker, 80 years at the bottom of a lake. Handmade rosette. It's got a kingwood bridge and a standard Spanish cedar neck.
Let's see the back.
The back. It has Paduk binding, which looks like bloodwood, but I'll tell you, when you finish that stuff, it's orange when it starts out, but it's red when you finish it.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jeffrey Yong from Malaysia, and I brought some very exotic guitars. This is monkey pot, right? And this is the new version of the mango wood. This is a classical guitar with a American back and side, cedar top.
Is that the figure in the mango? Is that small, or is that just the color in it?
Small. So the top, side, back. Right. So in fact, everything is built from a hardwood.
Right, hardwood top.
Yeah. No, bracing, everything is everything, 100%.
What do you think? That work acoustically?
Oh, I don't know. Can play?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
John Blanchard from Bend, Oregon. Build classical guitars mainly, and every now and then I'll throw a prototype in. I have a steel string Hauser, essentially, is what it is. It's a fan brace classical with carbon fiber.
What do I see peeking through the sound hole?
That is a K&K pickup inside of it.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
See if we can take a look in there, Isaac. Oh, very cool.
This was built sort of as my own instrument because I was raised in the steel string world, but always appreciated the classical sound more. And so this kind of made me able to play in that world a little better and have that sound.
The walnut?
It's a walnut, plural walnut, brought in on bloodwood.
How about the next one?
This is all European on rosewood, European spruce on rosewood. I make my own high-resolution rosettes. They're a mosaic design. It's a reindeer and a backdrop of Aurora Borealis is what it is.
All right.
I was a physiologist up in the north, and that's sort of where that came from.
So you got a cutaway classical?
I got a cutaway that was requested by a customer, and it is able to, with the steepness of the curve, was able to leave all the bracing the same. There was no change in any of the bracing at all.
It goes above the top transfer?
It goes across everything, yeah. It goes across, and even the finger braces, even up there, are intact. The one on the end is like this. They're all Euro on rosewood, but this is a short scale 640. All these are Hauser type of design as far as the bracing pattern. And so that's kind of this group here.
I'm Jose from Maestro Guitars. I come from Singapore, and I have 2 guitars with me and 1 uke.
Show us the back of this one.
This one? It's a Makassar Ebony.
Right.
Yeah, nice, straight green.
What's the uke made of?
The ukulele, it's Cocobolo back inside with cedar top.
Yeah. What's the finish?
This is NC, lacquer.
How about this guitar here? Also ebony?
This is not. This is a Adirondack top with Indian rosewood back inside. The finish is PU, polyurethane.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Flaherty. I live in Bellingham, Washington, and I've been building ukuleles for about 4 years. A lot of fun. Really enjoy it.
You've got a maple one over here.
I'm sorry?
You've got a maple one on the end here.
Actually, I bought this. It was called Ash, and it's not maple. You can tell by the iridescence and things it's not maple, but I'm really questioning whether it's ash. I thought maybe, I've had to come up with a couple different kinds of things, but I don't really know what it is. It's ash and sequoia.
Oh, yeah.
And,
how about this one?
This little guy is walnut, kind of a wild figured walnut on the back. And it also has a sequoia soundboard.
I like the rope binding.
And the rope bindings, yes. Try to bind the necks and things and make it a little flashy.
Right.
Some people like that flashiness.
How about this?
And this one's, of course, the traditional koa with an Engelmann spruce top. And a little extra touch around the bridge.
Interesting, yeah.
Fancier touch to it. So that's pretty much it. I really enjoy doing this. It's a lot of fun. I'm a newbie this year, so first time around. It's kind of fun to see everybody here. And
looks like you got some antique planes.
I collect antique tools, and I figured I would bring some that were appropriate for luthery, and even have a little antique glue pot here that's been getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And it's a very clever design in that if it's hot, of course the water goes inside. If it's hot, you could put a piece of wire through here and lift it, and you can lift it out without it spilling, which is pretty clever.
Clever.
Yeah,
so you put the bottom part on some sort of an alcohol lamp or something,
some heat source of some kind, right. It could be a candle, alcohol lamp on your stove or whatever. Just about the right amount of glue for, little touch-ups and things like that. So.
My name is John Schroeder from Driftwood, Texas. It's the central area.
I have two archtop mandolins and a parlor guitar and a dreadnought.
Is this a juniper?
This is a juniper guitar. All the back sides and top. But I laminate maple and mahogany. No truss rod necessary.
Right. That's a beautiful back there. Yeah. I like it.
I can hook that right on my guitar case handle.
So that's that stuff from Glen Burley, is it?
This is from Glen Burley in Central Oregon.
Planed okay, did it? Planed the
It works really good. I really like working it.
It looks like you got a couple of mandolins here.
And the mandolins, I like to show my dovetails.
Is that actually the dovetail, or is that a heel cap?
Well, it's both.
Is it really?
Yeah, it goes all the way through.
Cool.
This is old piano soundboard. Right. This one came from a 1924 Steinway Grand. Cherry, ebony bindings, mammoth ivory inlay, nut.
Clayton Pledger, Portland, Oregon, and I have a jumbo size guitar with a cutaway. It's a Sitka spruce top, European flame maple in back, flame maple back and sides.
Yeah.
Mahogany neck, and that's that.
Yeah, you got a 12 fret.
I have a 12 fret. This is kind of came up with this. A friend of mine has a Santa Cruz. They call it a 12 fret dreadnought, and so I loved it, and so I kind of took it off of that design. And this is Sitka spruce with Hawaiian koa.
Beautiful.
Flame Hawaiian koa. Both of these guitars are finished with Endurovar, which is the waterborne varnish.
Is it over any kind of sealer, shellac or anything?
Shellac on the top, and then the back and sides are sealed with an epoxy.
Okay. So you're not putting the waterborne directly on the wood?
Right.
What's that one on the end with the extra big sound hole, huh?
Yeah, this is more like the jumbo size, a 16-inch body. Again, has the European flame maple back and sides. This one's French polished. It's got an Amboina burl rosette. And I built it it's got a really amazing long story you probably don't want to hear, but it was built for a jazz musician in New York City and who hits it really hard. He hits it really hard. So it's braced pretty heavily, can really be driven. Yeah. So there you have it.
Keith King, New Richmond, Wisconsin. I brought my A-style mandolin. Sitka top, maple back and sides, and
let's see the back. What sort of stain is that?
I think it's just some trans tint dyes. It's been a while. I think I built it in 2010.
Yeah.
And Sapelli had heel cap. I just saved and mitered together, joined together.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
My name's Dan Lemaster. I'm out of Lewiston, Idaho, and I brought this canary wood guitar. Yeah, right. It's a small guitar. In this little bit bigger one here, this is Madagascar rosewood with a spruce bear claw top.
Let's see the back. Wow. It's a fancy heel cap you got there.
Yeah. And Bolivian rosewood on the fretboard and the neck. Kind of one of my specialties is armrest.
Oh yeah, it sort of droops over there.
Yeah. Like that?
It's like you wore it off.
Yeah, just a little bit. Huh?
Let's see, you got laminated back braces here?
That one, yeah. It's carbon fiber in there.
What do you think of that?
Carbon fiber, well, I think it's made this guitar really loud. It doesn't move much.
Top braces?
Top braces don't move much at all. It allowed me to make the top really thin, about as thin as I'd care to go.
I'm Fleck from San Francisco, California, and I brought 2 arch tops. This is a 15-inch flat back.
Oh yeah?
And it's got a ice cream cone heel with the adjustable neck angle, so you can adjust the action down there. One-piece bridge, Weller gold foil pickup.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, you got several things going here. The 16th century neck thing, and the 50s pickup. And
The old and the new.
Right.
Yeah.
How about this other one?
This is a 17-inch. This is kind of more of a normal guitar.
Right. Nice honey-colored sunburst there.
Thank
Blue
you.
in the purfling.
Yeah, going for a kind of a sunset look there.
Yeah, like that. All right. Let's see the back.
European spruce.
Beautiful.
I mean European maple, excuse me.
We know.
I'm John Park from Summerland, BC, and we brought a flamenco guitar, pearwood back and sides, rather not wood. And the old traditional, old style white tap plates, and so on.
Are those friction pegs or geared pegs?
There's no technology really that out of the 20th century in this thing.
What do you think of pearwood as a back and side wood?
I love it. Yeah, it's great. It's sort of like maple only better for guitars.
How about this one?
The problem with is finding it. This is a classical guitar, also pearwood, but in the sort of 20s, 30s, traditional Spanish style.
A little bit of nice bear claw in there.
Pardon me?
Nice little bit of bear claw.
Yeah, this is some nice Italian spruce. At least I got it from an Italian guy. And with this nice symmetrical little bear claw and that very elegant and creamy and old school.
Hey, my name's Gypsy Roy there. I'm from Convoy, New South Wales, Australia, and I have with me a Falcate brace steel string guitar.
Okay, let's see the back.
Just East Indian rosewood back and sides, Queensland maple neck, Gidgee fingerboard and headstock veneer, and Western red cedar top.
Can you briefly describe the bracing?
Yep, it's a laminated curved bracing, so there's one brace that runs there, another there, and one little one there, and then it's symmetrical. And it was developed by an Australian guitar builder named Trevor Gore.
Yeah.
Dan Wilson from Newcastle, Washington, and I have an eclectic mix of things. The last convention, I had my first guitar, which is one of the 1816 Martinez GAL plan. Since then, most recently, I've built 3 more of these instruments. I have 2 of them with me, one's in the case.
Let's see the back of that one.
I had this one here last time, which is the only hazelnut stringed instrument in existence, I believe, with our local hazelnut. And I brought it back again, not so much because it's so special, but because I learned a few things in the meantime, because the wood creeped and I had to do some repairs. I also had my daughter said, "Dad, will you make me a shamisen?" And so what's a shamisen? So this is my tester. I made 2. This is the first one.
Did you make it from the GAL plan?
I did not. I didn't think it was so good, actually. Or it was not as good. I actually used this book written by a then 18-year-old boy in Santa Cruz. It's the only book in English about the shamisen. and it actually turned out to be a very enjoyable connection. My daughter has the second one with her in Japan, where she's taking shamisen lessons. And this is a harana, which is a Mexican indigenous knockoff of a colonial Baroque guitar. Veracruz area used for son jarocho music, and I thought it was kind of interesting because it's made out of a single block of wood. This is a block of red alder, and it's carved out with a separate top. So that was my just a done on a whim, and it's actually a very nice little instrument. And if I ever find a son jarocho group to sing in, I can.
They do it
play
the easy way, right? No side bending. They just hack it out.
They just hack it out with a machete.
Cool.
Hey, my name is Alan Simcoe. I'm from Bainbridge Island, Washington. That's about an hour north of where we are now. And I've got a couple of classical guitars that I brought. Here's a 6-string Jose Romanillos Plantilla, 7 fans, no cutoff bars, open harmonic bars. And this is a 7-string specifically for choro music, for Brazilian choro music. Miguel Rodriguez to get the basses out, I think, and a bigger plantilla. This is the larger Hauser size. This would be sort of a smaller Hauser size, I guess. And this is what I do. These are my interests as a builder.
Dave Nixon. I live at Lake Taps, which is about 20 miles from here.
Just down the road.
So not too far. And what I've brought is kind of an example of what I build. An OM, a parlor, and a dread. This dread has actually a heat, thermally modified top. It looks like cedar, I know, but it's thermally modified. With Pacific Rim tone wood, we sent a bunch of wood over to Finland and had it.
Well, the brace size,
thermally modified.
Is it like a Colbert at a high temperature?
Yes, what they do is they put these in stainless steel kilns, and they will cook that at about 400 degrees for a short time, and with no oxygen, so that of course it won't burn. And when they come out, they're pre-aged. Now I know a lot of builders are starting to use it now. And, Taylor, I think now is even offering that 3 years after we sent some down to him. So they've kind of latched onto it. And then this is just a little parlor that people are starting to gravitate to, the early 90s or early 1900 parlor style, which is in walnut, curly walnut. And then this is just an OM here that is out of Australian blackwood with an Engelmann spruce top.
I'm Charles Gouvernement. I'm from Montreal, and I brought my classical guitar, my first one. So, yeah.
Show it to us.
So Sitka spruce for the top, Indian rosewood for the back and side, Spanish cedar for the neck, polyurethane finish. It's a Robert Boucher model.
You say this is your first instrument?
Yeah, my first one, yeah.
That's not bad.
Not the last one.
Are you folks together at a school?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. It's a 2 years program where we build 2 classical guitars, 1 acoustic and 1 ukulele. And we learn more than that. We talk about acoustic design also.
Yeah. Tell me who else you got with you here.
Oh, there's our teacher, Dan Kerry. Rosie here. Eve. And Alex too. He brought his guitar also.
Okay.
My name is Jay Hargraves, and these are my instruments here. I worked with Richard Steiner and Dr. Michael Kasha, and I build in that style of guitar. This is one of my nylon string guitars here with a redwood top, Croatian sycamore back and sides with a Guatemalan mahogany back. It has an adjustable tilt neck, 24 fret fingerboard, 1/8 inch beryllium copper rod frets. It's got an access door on the bottom with the rotating lock plate. It will have RMC pickups. That's what this hole's for, is for the 9-pin jack to go. And this is one of my acoustic bass guitars here. It's Sitka spruce top with a Sitka spruce back, Western maple sides. It has an Eastern maple neck. It's tinted lacquer finish, that's what you see. And this is the back of it. And it has the access door like the guitar does on it. And this has the RMCs in it. And you can see the 9-pin jack on the edge. And then you can see the RMCs are individual pickups, which can be, with the preamp, are you get a 3-band EQ, MIDI capabilities, and a 1/4-inch output all at the same time. So you can run to an amp and be triggering a separate MIDI device. You can be playing sax while playing guitar. How those guys do it, I don't know, but they can do it, you know. And that is, and back there you can see my guitar case. I make my own guitar cases. The guitar cases are like $1,500 themselves. I pay more to the upholstery shop than I do to the guy doing the laminating for the shell, you know. But the inside of the case,
yeah, bring it up here.
nice.
You could move a small family in there.
I call it Jay versus the volcano. You remember the Tom Hanks movie? He had those steamer trunks. See, the ship can go down. You can go to the desert island, and then you can play your guitar. You at least got something to do. Of course, it'd be better if you had Meg Ryan with you, but you know. And I also like there's a magnetic latch.
Oh,
This is the RMC preamp. You can see it goes with it.
Does the case have Wi-Fi?
It should be motorized. This is the first case, so it's like 20-pound case. It's a tank, but we're making them lighter now. But this is like interior upholstery fabric for like in a car, you know. And each case is fitted to that particular guitar. That's why I'm giving them like $800+ for an interior. It's got an O-ring inset into the edge for the seal. I put you know, I stole from everybody to get my ideas and then came up with a few myself. At least I added some myself.
Okay, thank you. Well, you really go all the way, don't you?
Just over the top. And that's part of the price of the instrument, you know.
Hello, I'm Jim White. I'm from Teton Valley, Idaho. It's in Victor, Idaho, actually. It's over in the Teton Mountains. And I brought 2 classicals and a steel string with me. And
tell us about this one.
This one is a year old. This one's 2013 with a German spruce top, East Indian rosewood back and sides. This one is my new one. I just strung up Saturday. So today's old. This one's also East Indian rosewood, back and sides. This one has a Italian spruce top on it from the high altitude in the Dolomites.
Okay, this is G.D. Armstrong. The true location is Yamhill, Oregon, although my badge says Great Big City, South Dakota. So, I'm not quite sure where that came from. Okay, so over here we've got a solid body electric tenor guitar, 2 coil tap humbucker pickups, maple burl top, mahogany back. So, this one is a tenor banjo. The pot came from StuMac and made the neck. This was one I made for a guy who bought the pot and was going to build himself a banjo and decided it was too much work. So he came to me and I did it for him.
Very good. Now with this one.
This is a tenor guitar. It's actually for the advanced air guitar player. it has no strings on it, but there is a physical body which allows them to even give the impression even more of playing an instrument.
It's even better than air guitar.
That's right.
Okay. And this one?
And this one is either a short scale bouzouki or a long scale octave mandolin. Neither fish nor fowl. Oregon maple, back and sides, spruce top.
Bolt on neck?
Bolt on neck. It's made my life simpler.
I'm Howard Replogle. I'm from Riderwood, Washington. I brought 4 tenors and a baritone and a cavaquinho. The cavaquinho has a broken string that broke in the demonstration. But it is. Do you want me to tell you about each instrument?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's.
You can see the back side.
It's an Engelmann spruce top with a zebra wood back and sides, a mahogany neck, and it's steel stringed. So it's actually the fraternal twin of a commission, and so it's bigger than a proper cavaquinho, and it's X-braced and for steel strings, and so I've tuned it down a little bit.
Okay. How about this one?
And it has a 0 fret. This one is a tenor Sitka top with bacote back and sides, ebony fingerboard. It's 13 frets for the body, 0 fret.
13 frets. That's why you got to have the dots on it, right?
30. Well, one reason, yeah. And so
this is a nice rope binding.
This is my own rope binding.
Yeah.
It's black limba with a all around and a mahogany laminated neck and ebony fingerboard and bridge. And this is a baritone with Indian rosewood back and sides and a Engelmann top and the same batch of rope binding. This is Sinker redwood with maple back and sides, and this is Jatoba binding and also a laminated neck. These I've been making fret markers with scraps of bone from my nuts and saddles.
Oh, I see, yeah. Same width, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one, the crazy red rosette?
This is myrtle with also bacote back and sides and a ebony fingerboard and bridge, and also Jatoba binding.
Bill Ellis from Spring Valley, California, near San Diego, and I have brought 4 guitars, 2 hollow body electrics, and 2 acoustic flat tops.
This one's reminiscent of a 175, huh?
Yeah,
or 125?
A 125 fattened up a little bit,
okay, yeah.
A little thicker. Yeah, so it's based on a 125. The same as this one, it's just deeper.
Except you did a whole lot of fancy stuff they didn't bother with.
Right. Yeah, I was a carpenter first, and then a painter, an artist, and now a luthier.
So you finally arrived where you should have been, right?
I can't tell.
Your journey has made a logical conclusion.
I hope so.
Not conclusion.
I hope so. No, it's
reached a goal.
Culmination.
There you go. Culmination.
Yeah,
all right.
culmination. So
what's the next one here?
This is a flat top, and I since I was a painter, my wife said, "Well, you need something to paint on," so I started painting. Had to make guitars. This is my dad was 94 years old, died in the middle of this project. So he was a Montana cowboy, and I did a cowboy picture for him.
Lovely. Let's see the front of that one.
Then I put a fish on all of them, the oil paint.
So what's the clear finish?
Nitro. And with the oil paints, I seal them with shellac, do the image, seal it again, and then the nitro doesn't melt the oil.
Yeah. So then you build it up a bunch and flatten it out?
Yeah, not as long as you don't have any high spots.
Yeah.
It only takes a couple coats of shellac.
Yeah, here's another example of that technique.
Yeah, exactly. Same technique.
studied under Bojo many years ago.
I was going to say, I saw an influence there.
See a bit of an influence on there. This particular guitar is all curly koa. Has a bit of a theme to it. It's while my guitar gently weeps. I did that on mother of pearl. Then pardon? Okay. Then on the front here, it's all the inlay. That's the notes of while my guitar gently weeps. Just in case you forget. It goes a few tears coming down it. That marker. Back of it.
And a little tear on the heel cap.
Little tear on the heel cap, yeah.
Okay, what about this one over here?
The other one is I was contacted by the Kentucky National Guard to commemorative guitar for the fallen soldiers of the Kentucky National Guard. Building a memorial at Kentucky. And fortunately, the memorial is round, so he kind of helped me out with the rosette. So the rosette is the memorial. This is a big slab of granite, and I just kind of copied that, and I put all the fallen soldiers' name I on there. This is a statue of Daniel Boon that they have in bronze, and then that's the field fallen soldier cross. This is their motto: "Divided we, united we stand, divided we fall." And then this is a solemn pride to have laid some little costly sacrifice upon the altar. That's also on the memorial too, so kind of incorporate.
Can we see the back of that one? Don't scratch it on this music stand here.
No problem.
It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Okay, then you got an arch top over here.
Then my arch top. Yeah, it's kind of a Benedetto style arch top. European spruce top, European maple, back and sides, curly maple. This wood I bought in Africa. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I cut it as a veneer and use it. It works out great on the guitar. Three-piece neck.
Yeah.
With the same inlay, or same.
I like the color on the back. It kind of accentuates the grain. You know?
Yeah.
You can see a little more about what the grain's doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Some people probably don't like it, but I think it's awesome. And it's part of the wood.
That's right. And the flames going around the neck is a nice thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm Steve Rolig. I'm from southern Colorado, a small town, Pagosa Springs. This is my second convention. My greatest memory is appearing on the cover of a national magazine.
I was going to call you a cover boy when I was stepping up here. Not many people have been pictured on the cover of American Lutherans. Usually it's, shavings, fingers holding a plane,
a chisel here and there.
Exactly.
But I've only been able to make it to now 2, this one and this year.
All right.
So I have good memories.
How about these instruments?
Well, I make 3 styles of guitars. From a parlor size, it's just over 13 inches in the lower bout.
Yeah.
Double-aught size that doesn't have quite the narrow waist of a usual double-aught.
Right.
And then just a slightly trimmed down dreadnought. Because I'm a finger-style player, I was going for less of a dreadnought sound, a little more finger-style friendly instrument.
All spruce, are they?
This is exciting wood for me. The tops on these 2 guitars, the small one and the middle size, are Engelmann spruce, and I actually participated in the harvesting of this wood from Wolf Creek Pass in Colorado.
Right.
So this Engelmann spruce grows at about 11,000 feet elevation there. And although I can't say I harvested the tree myself, a professional did that, but I did all the other work to prepare the wood. So it's particularly satisfying to me to do something like that.
It's James Buckland. I go by Jim to all my friends, and I'm in Clinton, South Carolina, building primarily 19th century guitars and doing various 19th century guitar related paraphernalia. I brought a few extra things with me. This guitar I've got with me is loosely based on the Gaetano Guadagnini style of building, with the big wide body and thin depth, the big mustachio bridge. And his father, Carlo Guadagnini, designed this particular guitar. This is built after an 1812 original, and this is, again, bone frets. You can see this is more of a Baroque guitar shape to it, and it's quite deep as well. So difference between them.
Indeed.
And one of the focuses that I've been working a lot on has been fretting and how they've been calculating their scale lengths and things like that. And I brought some replicas of tools with me here. So they work with the rule of 18. So you take your string length, divide it by 18, that's the nut to the first fret. Take that, divide it by 18, nut to the first fret, on and on. And the way they'd use it would be this dividing compass here. So you put one end where the bridge goes, one end where the nut goes, you flip the thing around, and there's the distance from there to there.
Then you put it on the first fret of the bridge.
That's right.
Yeah.
And this little goofy thing here is a ruler I made up, so I can take this thing apart and put that thing right on here and measure the distance so I can adjust the compass points and get it tuned up to go. So there we are.
Okay.
And a nice piece of gut string if you want to floss your teeth.
Bayard Blaine from Fayetteville, Arkansas.
About that distance? There we go.
All right. And I brought a bunch of stuff. Most of my work is flat top guitars, but lately I've been getting into arch tops. And I build a whole mandolin family, mandolas. I didn't bring any mandolins except mine I play, but yeah, I'm a little, you can tell I don't like to do anything the same, you know.
Tell me about this one. It's an 8-string.
This is an archtop bouzouki, I call it, a 23 1/4 scale. Red maple, Honduran rosewood accoutrements, kind of that brown leather stain.
Right.
I'm into Irish music and I like a big droney.
Yeah.
It's a Sitka spruce, maple neck, like the gold hardware, brass. I enjoy doing my own tail pieces and all that kind of stuff.
How about this one with the herringbones?
The herringbone, it's kind of my own shape. It's like a triple O that I just blew up a little bit.
Yeah.
It seems to work pretty well. I end up doing a bunch of them. It's an Italian spruce top, Honduran mahogany back and sides, purple heart trim with maple lines.
Yeah.
I like the stain. I like one-piece necks. I kind of am a traditionalist in some regards. It's this one. Some regards. Yeah. This one, this shape just seems to work. This is my newest guitar. I actually strung it up about the day before I left to come here, so I was in a little bit of a hurry, you know.
I understand.
Okay, Dan Ryerson. I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, by way of Hawaii, but now I'm on the mainland. And this guy is also from Sioux Falls, and he and I are doing some of the stuff jointly, so he can identify himself next. We got two Koa spruce top, French polished ukuleles, recent production we made, and I got two what I call a full custom, a baritone and a tenor mango spruce, Indian rosewood spruce.
Very nice.
And this is about I think my 5th time here. Josh's first time. We're having a great time, yeah.
And you are?
Josh Rick from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Okay. Enjoying yourself at your first convention?
Absolutely. I've been a member for about 10 years and have unfortunately not been able to get to the previous conventions. But yeah, I made sure I was here this time. So
we'll see the backs of these things.
All right. Nice Koa.
What's that one?
It's mango, spalted mango.
Yeah. We're seeing a few mango instruments here this time.
All right.
Yeah. More Koa and Indian rosewood.
Okay.
I could add one thing by way of, might be of historical interest.
Yes.
I remember where the GAL started out in Vermilion, South Dakota.
Yes.
Josh, one of his claims to fame is he does the repair and restoration work for the museum there.
That's not true. No.
Well, some of it, come on.
The National Museum?
Yeah, I studied there for a year and have done some work with them. So.
Did you know Joe Johnson?
No, he was before me, yeah.
Yeah, he worked with us on our conventions. Great guy. We remember him fondly. So you probably knew Andre.
Yep.
Yeah, we worked with him in '88 and '92 at the conventions there.
So if you ever want to bring it back to South Dakota, then we'll be there every time then.
Yeah.
Okay, my name is Erick Folk. I'm Seattle, Washington, very far away from Tacoma. So what I have here is a couple of ukuleles and mandolin. The first ukulele is a tenor, built in the Selmer style, but it's braced pretty much like a standard ukulele. It's got a 5-band brace, and it's timber scale, and it's pretty traditional. The instrument in the middle is a Selmer mandolin. which is braced almost exactly like a silver guitar. It's got ladder braces, and it has that, it's got the gypsy sound. It's got that sort of compressed sound. It's a longer scale. It's a 15-inch scale instrument, which is long for a mandolin.
Well, look at the difference in depth between those two instruments.
Yeah, and it's more mandolin depth, so it keeps that, and that helps the sound. That keeps it. If you get too deep on the body, you sort of lose the immediacy of the sound. Yeah. At least that's what I found.
How about this pineapple shape one?
I take things too literally, so I built a pineapple. This is a soprano uke, all koa, with all the inlay is done in Indian rosewood, and it's a pineapple.
I like that shape.
Oh, thank you very much.
My name's Greg Miller. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I brought this classical guitar, and it is traditionally braced, but I'm using Jeff Elliott's open harmonic bar, so the fans kind of go up here into the upper bout. It's European spruce and some really beautiful East Indian rosewood, very red. And the part I enjoy the most is making the rosette.
I was going to ask you, that's your design. That's a very unusual and beautifully done thing.
That's my design. My background is in interior architecture, so I approach each one of these as a little design project, and really enjoy that. It is all about the sound, but it's a lot of fun. Just
while you're going, why not
have it make it look beautiful?
Yeah, I see what you're doing here with the time block, the tapering in a little bit. That's a nice touch.
Right here. Just kind of repeating some of the curves and repeating the curve a little bit up on the headstock. So they're very subtle things, but I think there's a refinement about it. Everything kind of ties together.
Okay. I'm seeing the sound hole is rounded, and it reaches a little place where that rounding ends very intentionally.
Right there. And I've had a lot of people say, what a nice detail. And I told someone, I stole that. I stole it from someone, and I don't know who. And then a young woman from Canada came up yesterday and asked me if I was a student of Sergei de Yonga. And I said no. And she said, well, he does that on all of his guitars. And I said, that's who I have to credit now.
Okay, my name's John Kerrigan, Curly Creek Guitars. I live in Port Orchard, Washington, which is about 35 minutes away from here. And these guitars are a Wingay with a nitrocellulose lacquer on them. This is a Weisenborn, and these both came from the same tree in West Seattle. Yeah, you know, just kind of a nice.
Let's see the backs of these.
Backs of these. Here's a nice back on this one.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
Just a little guitar that I kind of drew out on my workbench, you know. It was going to be a parlor guitar, but I wanted to have a little bit more bottom end, so I actually put some bottom end on there. And it really kind of worked. Yeah. So.
See the back of this one?
The back of the 12 string is a nice...
yeah, you say this was a street tree?
Yeah, well, it was in somebody's yard, going to fall down on their house, and my buddy's an arborist, and he made her a beautiful live edge dining table with a big slab, and I was kind of hoping she'd buy one of these to match her table, but yeah, you know, accessorizing, I told her.
I often wonder about city trees and what becomes of them. Some of them look like they make fine wood, and there's the proof of it.
This guy made a big business out of it, and did very well, and I saw some beautiful stuff go through his shop. Just gorgeous.
Herb Taylor from Golden, Colorado, and I brought largely Irish-style instruments. That's my main customer base is fat Irish players, plus some tenor guitars. I got in tenor guitars.
I see some very unusual features. Maybe even those sound holes.
Gosh, I don't know. Just something that came to me. Cat eye sound holes. But kind of like, you know, jazz guitar.
What about the bridge on this one on the right?
The bridge is an attempt to use very, very light bracing, and so you can't have any down pressure on the bridge. So the strings go virtually straight through. the bracing is a kind of a lattice, and it's about 5 millimeters tall, made out of red cedar. So it's like
cedar, right? Very light.
Of course, when you do that, you have to have the bridge firmly attached. Otherwise, it would just roll around.
Right.
So the screws go through to a little connector piece in the inside. And there's little slots so you can move it back and forth.
Carbon rod in there?
Yes, a carbon tube compression brace.
Yeah.
That's what I do, and I always do a removable, adjustable bolt-on neck. So that's part of what I do.
Okay, let's see the back of this Bazooki over here.
The 10 string I made for a guy from Texas. Of course, these are kind of Irish tuning, see, with all the D's in there.
Oh, right. So the 3-piece vaulted back, is that something you do a lot, or?
I've done a bunch of them. I kind of invented it somewhat based on a guy named Peter Abnett, who did some of these in England. But his aren't arched as high. And,
I like the way the last one recurves there. That's a nice look.
I can't figure out how to put bindings on the back. No bindings.
So I'm Elliott Hoffman. I'm from Davis, California. I brought today my first built guitar, which came from Charles Fox's class. So this is a grand concert. And I brought also the first guitar that I built at home on my own, which is a small jumbo. And then I brought the mandolin, which I built, which I built from the plans in Graham Macdonald's book.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the back of that one.
So this is Paducah on the back, with LMI sent me a lovely piece with the sapwood.
Very nice.
So
that's an interesting front. I wouldn't call it a scroll, but it's like it thought it might turn into a scroll and did something else instead. This here.
Graham thought it was interesting too, which kind of surprised me. I thought that's what the drawings were after. So he said he actually slopes it straight out, rather than leaving it as a ridge like this. But I was kind of I had to go back up and clarify that with him. I find out what he was really expecting.
Well, it reminds you of traditional aspects,
Yeah, and I think it does the job of spreading the load the way that it should be and preventing cracking in here. So,
okay, let's see the back of this one.
So this one's Indian rosewood.
Very nice.
With the Honduran mahogany neck, ebony bindings and head plate. Sitka spruce top.
Okay.
My name is Marshall Brunet. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, via Tower Lakes, which is about an hour northwest. And I've been doing this pretty much my entire life. These are a couple of my guitars. I guess one would say I'm a legacy builder, but this is my new elevated fingerboard model, which I built specifically for the convention. It came out, I finished this on a Thursday before, and the back of this sucker has a really nice curly cherry center strip with Madagascar rosewood sides and back. I did the French polish on this one in 8 hours on this guitar, top to finish.
Right ahead, right?
Yep, and it's got the high elevated fingerboard with my own bracing pattern, which apparently was pretty decent in the hall. So
see, that elevated fretboard is the only thing that doesn't appear traditional about it from outside view, right?
Absolutely. The inside is my own bracing pattern, where it's got 3 central braces and then 1 nodal bar in the vein of Boucher, but not exactly like that. I prefer to say it's more Hauser inspired than Boucher inspired.
Okay.
And that's more or less my standard classical guitar with an elevated fingerboard. And we're moving to my father's guitar, which is my guitar. Confusing, right?
You built it, he owns it.
Right, I built it. This is my first nylon string instrument. Prior to that, I was a steel maker. So it's patterned off of the 51 Barbero plans, available at the GAL.org.
Accept PayPal?
Absolutely. Click my link. This is made entirely out of scrap wood. It's a 4-piece back. I ended up getting this Monterey cypress from a down tree from one of our other members, Kenny Hill, and I ended up running out of back, so I had to make my own back out of 4 pieces or 4 sides. The top is nothing but the best quality wood with a fine little knot, a whole lot of run out, and about as far away from the quarter as you can get.
If a wart can be a beauty mark, then
Oh yeah, this thing's riddled with them. This is my own personal violin. This is the one that I built for graduation from the Violin Making School of America in Salt Lake City. This one I built just inside of 3 weeks, including finish and setup, just because I was rushing because my daughter was on her way, literally on her way. So, yeah, knocked this sucker out in 3 weeks. It's not the prettiest violin, but it sounds really nice, and that's why.
The old boys did it.
Exactly. You know, if Del Jesu can rise to greatness with shoddy work, I'm sure I can rise to mediocrity.
Exactly right.
Now we're on to a couple other instruments made by some obscure maker just north of Chicago. This is the R.E. Brunet's, my father's, 749th guitar with a cheap set of cheap cedar top, and again, Madagascar rosewood sides and back. It's quite a nice material for building. And this one has his experimental bracing, which is laminate of cedar and carbon fiber on an oval bar here, and then another bar over here with 3 random braces placed inside, as he describes it. This one has a tremendous sound. It's got a whole lot of punch, and I quite like the sound of it.
Something's working, huh?
Yeah, somebody's working. It took him just around a week to complete this one, start to finish.
Maybe you say it took him just over 50 years to figure it out.
Well, no, he's still working on it. We might figure this thing out eventually. And this last guitar here is a tribute to Paco de Lucia. This was built a week, starting the week after we found out that Paco had died. And this is dedicated to him. This is the Lucia, dedicated as Lucia. This is a bench copy of our Faustino Conde that we have. This is the only thing that is not authentic to it is the rosette. The rosette is a tribute to his teacher. We even did the garish paint on it. As you can see the brush strokes in here, which is pretty ugly, and we got the neck pretty ugly as well. But
just like it's supposed to be, right?
Well, yeah. Well, it could have been uglier, I'm sure. And
but we try our humble best.
Right. It's hard to make things ugly these days. And this one was also built again in the style of Conde, also inside of a week. The only thing that we don't have is a cigarette smoke, but you know,
you can get that online these days.
Right. I'll put an e-cigarette smoke into it.
My name's Art Abrahams. I'm from British Columbia, Canada, currently living in Rosslyn, BC, and I build guitars under the name Artabox.
Okay, show us what you have here.
So I brought a pair of electrics with me. This is my set-through style of construction. The entire guitar is completely hollow, and the construction allows me to actually build the body and the neck independently from each other and then make them together at the last moment. The guitar itself only weighs 6 pounds, so it's a super lightweight construction.
Okay.
And I like it because it looks cool.
Oiled neck, looks like?
Oiled neck, KTM 9 gloss finish on the rest of it.
Okay. Yeah. How about this one?
This one here was basically a random collection of spare parts that I threw together for personal instruments. Okay. This was some wood that kept warping when I tried to make necks out of it, so I decided to make a guitar top out of it. That's a spare piece of walnut. This is an inlay that I harvested from another guitar that I didn't like, kind of thing. And when I put the stain on it, this figure popped out, so I was really quite impressed with it.
I just this minute figured out your headstock logo.
Yeah, I like to say, is it a logo or is it a headstock?
Exactly.
And this one is kind of set up with an acoustic piezo system, and it's strung with acoustic strings, and you know, it's that guitar that I like to use. You know, you can sit there on the couch and play it. Somebody can watch TV next to you, and you're not annoying anybody.
So no magnetic pickup?
No magnetic pickups in that one.
I see some unusual bracing here. Tell us what you have.
How many days do you have? This one is my development that kind of came from my frustrations with working with X bracing. Essentially, I like the idea of removing the sound hole from here because it makes the top stronger. Which leads to the next obvious question. Well, X bracing was designed to deal with the sound hole. Now that the sound hole is not there, let's completely rethink the bracing system. So I use extensive buttressing to deal with the forces coming off of the neck, and that allows me to voice the top purely for tone and nothing else. You know, my only consideration is the string string tension here. So
how do you feel about how that's working?
I'm really, really liking it. This guitar, when it was first built, the height of the bracing here was as thick as a traditional X brace. It was very loud, but it just had no mid-range to it. It was all fundamental and didn't have any of that wet kind of, dripping overtones that you look for. So this guitar is a screw-in back because it's a proof of concept. It's just a prototype.
It looks like you got an access port and you're going to close that hole with Velcro? What's the deal with the Velcro?
This was once again just another experiment because I've got the perimeter sound hole here. If you think in terms of porting an enclosure like you do with a loudspeaker, this allows me to take a piece of wood, stick it on that Velcro and try ports of different depths and see how that affects the resonance of the chamber itself. So yeah, I took about half of the height of this bracing out when I did the shave down and the guitar just opened right up, which led me to build this one over here that this gentleman's playing. That one's a slightly higher end top, so it's very, very thin because it's and the bracing in that one's even lighter than in this one here.
Looks like you have a little more traditional one here, or is it?
Kind of, sort of, but not quite.
Yeah.
Once again, elevated fretboard, and neck joint very much in the school of Mike Doolin. This one is X-braced. It's a cypress top with a Zapatero back and sides. Zapatero is a sinker wood from the Panama Canal. It's been underwater for about 160 years.
Okay. That looks like it has like an X back brace or something going on in the back brace.
It's I've actually moved to lattice bracing for my backs for the most part. So this one was kind of prior to developing this idea. These two braces here are basically designed to help try to mitigate stretch in the back of the instrument, and then from this point down there's a lattice brace. That guitar employs this tension bar here, where the tension bar screws into the heel block, and then the receiver screw that would normally go into this guy here actually screws directly into the piece of carbon fiber. So all of that force is being dealt with back here.
I like what you're doing with the center seam on that one. Purfling strip on the center seam.
Yeah, that's the classic Hydra mistake. Or not so much a mistake. I use polyurethane glue for all of my structural bonds, and the poly reacted with the cypress and made a bit of a brown streak there. So I decided to kind of make it look a little bit nicer.
It looks good.
I like the way the whole thing ties together. It looks really classy.
I'm John Thayer. I'm from Bremerton, Washington, and for this convention I had to borrow back a couple instruments from customers. I have a Duojet Telly mock-up, Cadillac green mahogany body, basically just Gretsch appointments on a Telecaster body, and then
including the fret markers. Oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
Back of it.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Kind of tinted mahogany.
Like the gold hardware. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, how about this one?
So I had a customer that's a musician, local musician where I'm from, who wanted the sound of my guitars but couldn't afford the full standard guitar. So I told him, well, I'll make a really stripped down version of my guitar, and this is what I came up with. It's one of my first jumbos. It's mahogany with the Adirondack red spruce top, and basically a small jumbo size.
No binding, what else?
Yeah, no binding. I put all my time and effort into the top, but I just avoided anything else that might take up a lot of time. I put a really thin satin finish on it, and just, stripped it down.
Does he like it?
He loves it, yeah. It's perfect for him. He uses this guitar for playing fingerstyle guitar, but it's versatile enough he can dig into it and strum it too. So.
Jim Watts from Los Alamos, New Mexico. It's a elevated fingerboard classical guitar, dual fan bracing in the School of Byers type thing, inspired, and it's Honduran rosewood.
Spalt rosette?
Spalted rosette, yeah. And other than that, it's pretty standard in a non-standard way.
It's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're in the Venerables room here at the GAL 21st convention, and this is a place that we have venerable things, older certainly, but unusual things, one-offs, rare things, and what people bring in. Now I bought in this little Portuguese ancestry, more or less souvenir guitar instrument. Sailors would give to their girlfriends. It's from the terribly old, maybe first part of the 20th century. And that sets the tone for the level of weirdness that we can expect, and we're moving right along. This is the Chris Knudsen table here in the Venerables. Chris Knudsen lived here in Tacoma about the turn of the century, and this is one of his first items, which is the one-armed guitar. Resonator, extra space in there, makes it have that special sound. And then he started stringing bass strings up along the arm and came to be known as the harmonica. This one from 1905. He also made the Hawaiian lap steel guitars that were later to be made famous by Weiss. That guy. Fat necks meant to be played on the lap. Another harp guitar from Chris Knudsen. He was left-handed. He made only a couple of left-handed instruments, but we have pictures of them. That's how we know. Tacomas. Let's walk on here. Next we have the banjo table. Tom Bergen played these. He brought along this nice L4 that's being live now from the Venerables. This banjo in particular is his Banjo d'Amore, retro banjo back a couple of centuries with sympathetic strings with elaborate inlay depicting the story of Morpheus and Eurydice, a mythological lover separated.
On a Halloween night.
Story involving Hades and all that. We won't go there. And here's a tiny little banjo, a piccolo soprano banjo called the decotone. And it is what we call over the top in terms of level of excitement with the decoration. The back is especially nice. We have this really, truly Art Deco thing. This is from Kinston, North Carolina, made by Marvin Walker. Just a truly amazing pocket of value right there. And the aforementioned old Gibson L4. Okay, so this is the style, the old parlor guitar table. Again, demonstrated here.
I feel like I'm on tour.
Style 6 is auditorium size, and this is the parent instrument that I used to make a drawing, which is now available from the field. Plan suitable for construction. That's the way we do it. This is a Bay State guitar. This company stopped making instruments in 1903, so we know the exact provenance of this. Mahogany guitar. Bay State's famous for the V-neck. Look at that. So sharp you could crease your pants with it. It's no. Bay State company. I forget his name. Anderson. It was a Swedish guy who did all the lutherie for this company back in the day. Okay, and let's go down the back wall. Jim Porter has Jim Westbrook have brought museum pieces truly here. We have a whole row out of their collection. Chirango, Pat Lister, lattice brace, really example. A Stouffer from Austria around from Vienna about 1830. That's kind of magazine cover material there. Fabricatore, Italian, 18th century guitar. That's the kind that James Buckman is making now, and performing with. Early 5-course guitar, 1760s. Vihuela, an ancient Spanish precursor to the guitar. We have a dual-strung ukulele, somewhat resembles an Elizabethan instrument. We have two utes by David Rubio on display here in the Venerable Room. Subject of a talk by Jim Westbrook the other day. Nice to see the work on these and kind of history that's associated with these pedals. We have a Moorish oud, an old one, complete with bullet hole but funky, shall we say, and then an ancient, this is a turtle shell, a tortoise, the tortoise instrument. Ooh, well, here we go. One never knows. Okay, another Tacoma landmark is Harvey Thomas, also famous for the Maltese heavy electric. This is awesome. This is a Century model. I'm guessing 70s, mid-70s, something like that. Let's see, we have here a Gallagher. Is this the Gallagher? Yeah, this is a dreadnought. Gallagher's famous for supplying the instruments for Doc. Arthur, Doc Watson, yes, from Tennessee, Worcester, Tennessee. And over here now we have a Portland, Oregon landmark, which is Frank Coulter made instruments in the early 20s and 30s, 1920s. And he had these unusual sound holes. I'm calling it a slug rampant. I have no idea what it is, but they're all like that. He had a theory that this kidney-shaped sound hole really did the number for tone. You want to talk tone?
But I was just thinking, because somebody else, well, it must not have been.
We have a really heavy electric fiddle. It weighs a ton because it's got electronics inside, and who'd have thunk? Well, that's venerable. Here's a nice old Martin tenor guitar, Planetary Tuners. This is the instrument that was made famous by Nick Reynolds and the Kingston Trio. There's a big surge in production in the 1960s owing to that, I think. Dwayne Heilman's Spamocaster, which I didn't know. This is a Dowell brought to us by Von Henderson and Deb Olson from the office. They bought an auction in 2004.
A lot of them were just dowels.
And we have
like about a half-inch diameter dowel. Drill a hole in both pieces and glue her together.
Ukulele again by Coulter, the weirdo.
I don't know if that's Spanish style or.
I see the. See if it was wrapped in to our collection this year at the Venerables, here right at the heart of things. We certainly thank you for your support.